Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. What will become of Crisley Confessions if Todd goes to jail? In addition to their TV series, Todd and Julie Crisley also host a podcast called Crisley Confessions. The podcast released episode 187 this week. Presently, the couple releases a podcast episode once a week. As those who tune into the podcast regularly know, Todd and Julie make an effort to be consistent and try not to let anything stop them from doing new episodes. This has included recording episodes while on vacation. This has also included recruiting Savannah and Chase to pop onto the podcast in place of a missing parent. The big question fans that tune in to listen to Crisley Confessions each week is simple. What happens to the podcast if Todd and Julie end up in the slammer? Fortunately, this was a question the couple answered during their most recent podcast episode. What will happen to Crisley Confessions? During the first 15 to 20 minutes of episode 187 of their podcast, Todd and Julie reassured fans that they would continue to drop episodes of their podcast so long as they were able to do so. The couple didn't if they ended up behind bars. They, however, did proceed to tell fans what plans they had in place for the podcast if they reached a point in time where they could not do episodes of the podcast anymore. Will the podcast stop dropping new episodes of the show if Todd and Julie go to jail? Or does the couple have some sort of plan in place to make sure that never happens? Todd and Julie Crisley explains their plans. After promising fans the show would go on as long as possible, Todd said that the keys would be passed to his children Savannah and Chase. He explained that if something happened preventing him and Julie from moving forward with the podcast, his children would absolutely take over. Todd Crisley also promised his fans and followers that his children would include updates on how Julie and himself were doing if they were in a position where they couldn't do the podcast. Neither Todd nor Julie clarified that the something that might take them away from the podcast is jail time though. As those following the family knows, Todd and Julie Crisley face up to 30 years behind bars following their guilty verdict. They are presently on house arrest as they await their sentencing hearing. Does it make you happy to know they have plans in place to continue Crisley Confessions? Let us know in the comments. And keep coming back for the latest on Todd and Julie Crisley. Genoa City never stays calm for long, and this week's early buzz from the Young and the Restless teases that both Victoria Newman and Sally Spectra will find themselves cornered, each in ways that test their pride, power, and limits. As tensions escalate inside Newman Enterprises and the sparks of ambition burn too hot, both women may have to face uncomfortable truths. Victoria's perfect plan starts to crumble. 4 months, Victoria Newman has been trying to prove that she's back in control. Not just of her father's company, but of her life. After being sidelined by Victor's manipulations and watching Nikki struggle with her sobriety, Victoria thought she had finally rebuilt her footing. With Claire in her orbit, she'd convinced herself that she could repair her family and her reputation at the same time. But this week, cracks start to form. It all begins when Victor demands answers about a questionable business move Victoria made behind his back. Rumor has it she greenlit a merger that could expose Newman Enterprises to legal scrutiny, and Victor isn't pleased. In typical mustache fashion, he's calm at first, but beneath the surface, the storm brews. Victoria, however, panics when she realizes that the decision wasn't entirely hers. Someone inside Newman Media, possibly Nate, pushed for it, and now she's the one taking the fall. The tension between Victoria and Nate Hastings has been steadily simmering, and this may be the moment where it all boils over. "You're not going to pin this on me," Nate snaps, his voice cold but steady. "You wanted results, Victoria. You said to make bold moves. I just did what you asked." For a woman who prides herself on control, this is the moment Victoria feels it slipping away. Her father's disapproval, her mother's concern, and her daughter's trust, all on the line. And when Claire starts asking questions about why the Newman name is all over the news for the wrong reasons, Victoria's panic turns into desperation. The weight of family expectations. As if Victor's judgment wasn't enough, Nikki adds fuel to the fire. She warns her daughter that chasing power at any cost is what nearly destroyed their family before. "You can't fix everything by throwing more money or titles at it," she tells her gently. "Sometimes you just have to stop fighting." But Victoria doesn't know how to stop fighting. The Newman legacy is everything to her. It's her armor, her identity, and the thing that keeps her from collapsing. However, her father's words sting deeper than she lets on. When Victor coldly tells her, "You're letting emotion cloud your judgment again," it reawakens the very insecurity she's fought so hard to suppress. She can't stand the idea that Victor still doesn't see her as his equal. And in a moment of vulnerability, Victoria admits to Nikki, "Maybe I'm not as strong as I thought." Sally Spectra's stubborn streak hits a wall. Meanwhile, over at Newman Media, Sally Spectra finds herself in an equally uncomfortable position. Forced to eat a slice of humble pie, she confidently pitching her new design collaboration, Sally believed she had the upper hand. She'd finally started rebuilding her career after the heartbreak and loss she endured. Nick Newman had supported her. Adam, as usual, complicated her emotions. But Sally thought this project would cement her as a serious businesswoman, not just a creative wild card. That confidence starts to crumble when Chloe Mitchell delivers devastating news. The investors are pulling out. The reason? Sally's clashes with the Newman higher-ups, namely Victoria, have made her appear unstable. It's the last thing Sally wants to hear. Unstable? She fires back. Because I have ideas? Because I'm not afraid to challenge Victoria Newman's iron grip. Chloe pleads with her to calm down, but Sally refuses. Her pride flares up, even when she knows the truth. Victoria's power inside the Newman family empire runs deep, and Sally doesn't stand a chance in a head-to-head war. Victoria and Sally's showdown. The inevitable confrontation between Victoria and Sally is one for the Y&R history books. When Sally storms into Victoria's office, the air practically crackles with tension. "You think you can just shut me down?" Sally demands, slamming a folder onto Victoria's desk. "You wanted someone who could bring energy to Newman Media, and that's exactly what I've done." Victoria, calm but icy, leans back in her chair. "You brought chaos, Sally. And there's a difference." The two women stare each other down. One a seasoned executive, the other a fiery upstart who refuses to be tamed. Victoria's words hit hard. "You're talented, Sally. But you can't bulldoze your way through every obstacle. Sometimes, you have to know when to back down." And though Sally tries to hold her ground, she realizes she's cornered. With investors pulling out and Chloe begging her to think strategically, Sally is left with no choice. Reluctantly, she backs down from the project. But the moment she leaves Victoria's office, her anger simmers. She may be retreating for now, but she's already plotting her next move. "This isn't over," she mutters under her breath. "Not even close." Two women, one battle for respect. What makes this brewing feud fascinating is how alike Victoria and Sally actually are. Both are ambitious, both crave validation, and both have been underestimated by men who think they know better. Victoria sees in Sally the impulsiveness she once tried to bury. Sally sees in Victoria the icy authority she's always resented. In another world, they could have been allies. But in Genoa City, ambition is a dangerous currency. As Sally licks her wounds and Victoria scrambles to clean up her corporate mess, both women are learning the same brutal lesson. Power doesn't protect you from consequences, it just raises the stakes. Coming up next. Early spoilers suggest that Victor won't let Victoria's latest blunder go easily. There's buzz that he may quietly start grooming Adam, or even Nick, to take over the reins at Newman Enterprises again, just to remind Victoria that no one is irreplaceable. As for Sally, her decision to back down doesn't mean she's defeated. Insiders tease that she may strike up an unexpected alliance with someone outside the Newman circle, perhaps Billy Abbott or even Devon Hamilton, to relaunch her vision on her own terms. If that happens, Victoria may find herself facing competition she never expected. And given how volatile both women can be, Genoa City better brace for fireworks. Final thoughts. This week's Young and the Restless storyline reminds fans why the show's power struggles never get old. Victoria's panic exposes her humanity beneath the Ice Queen facade, while Sally's forced retreat proves that passion can't always outpace politics. Still, both women are far from done. Victoria will regroup, Sally will rebound, and by the time the next corporate showdown comes around, Genoa City's battle for dominance will be hotter than ever.